My name is Fikri Ahmad. I'm the chairman for Pertubuhan Sinar Rahmah and also chairman for Risk Committee Yayasan Sukarelawan Siswa. So thank you so much, everyone. Now we are in the second slot of today's morning session. We are going to have Dr. Hajah Yatela Zainal Abidin, the CEO, Chief Executive Officer of Yayasan Darby, Malaysia. Welcome, Dr. Hajah Yatela Zainal Abidin. Thank you,
Thank you, Cik
Doctor.
Fikri. Thank you, Cik Fikri.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for being with us today. It is an honor to have you with us in sharing with us an effective institution for sustainable future. I believe Darby has done a remarkable job in making sure our future is secured in a way. So I think without further ado, I now pass the floor to Doctor to address the topics. You're welcome. Please.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good morning everyone. Alhamdulillah. Thank you for having me here today. I am delighted and honored to be one of the speakers of the Global Community Builders Summit 2020. Now this year, 2020, is truly a year of challenge and change. Despite the long list of challenges with wide-reaching consequences amidst the pandemic, we find the will and courage to get up every day and solve the many, many problems we face as a global community. Evidently, we have no choice but to change the way we have been going about our daily lives. In an environment when inequality is magnified, civil societies and non-profit organizations such as Yayasan Sime Darby or YSD have a role in addressing the current socio-economic gaps in these pandemic times and beyond. Okay, next slide. As the philanthropic arm of Sime Darby Berhad, Sime Darby Plantation Berhad and Sime Darby Property Berhad, YSD's vision is to lead and make a sustainable impact and a difference in the lives of others. And our mission is that we are dedicated to enhancing lives and delivering sustainable value through our 5 pillars: education, community and health, sports, environment, and arts and culture. We strive to build effective institutions through collaborations with partners that we share the same vision with, especially in terms of sustainability. Next slide, please. YSD had reviewed the strategies of all our 5 pillars to ensure that they are aligned with the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs, as we see the importance of aligning our focus areas to resonate with the SDGs to support initiatives that offer broad social, economic, and environmental impacts. We have also reported the relevant SDGs since 2019 in correspondence to our projects highlighted in our annual report for public consumption. So if you go to our website, you can actually look at how our projects are reported, and the SDGs are all stated there, towards transparency and awareness of how the causes we are involved in contribute to the achievement of those very, very important SDGs. We have been doing long-term work across our 5 pillars, as you can see on the slide, with our partners, with all the SDGs in mind, to contribute to the world's targets of achieving the life-changing zeros in poverty, hunger, AIDS, and discrimination against women and girls, so that no one, absolutely no one, is left behind. Through our collaborations with our partners, we have helped build effective institutions, either by helping them become self-sufficient and independent, or by working together with our partners to achieve sustainable aims in line with the relevant SDGs. Indeed, it has been a great honor to witness our partners' growth as well, to become esteemed organizations through our partnerships. And it is really rewarding to see the impact of our work towards achieving the SDGs. Next slide, please. Our education pillar. We aspire to empower youth and future leaders, regardless of their backgrounds, through our financial aid and development programs. To date, YSD has awarded 4,460 scholarships and bursaries worth 289.9 million ringgit to young Malaysians, mostly from low-income families. Some of the notable programs available include the YSD Excellence Scholarship Program, the YSD Bursary Program for the B40 and differently abled students, and the YSD Skill Enrichment Program for vocationally inclined students from B40 as well. Now, these programs are in line with SDG 1, no poverty, SDG 2, zero hunger, SDG 4, inclusive quality education for all, and SDG 10, reduced inequalities. Next slide. Our annual flagship program, the Sime Darby Young Innovators Challenge, or SDYIC, engages secondary school students to use science and technology in solving everyday problems towards the cultivation of an innovative mindset and the development of critical soft skills. Together with Chumbaka, we have impacted the nearly 10,000 individuals nationwide, including young innovators whose inventions have become practical solutions to address community problems. To date, with YSD support, 4 winning ideas, including Robin Food, you can see the impact on the screen, Microscope, and D-Monitor have been developed into working prototypes that are deployed to benefit local communities, while the development of another 3 winning ideas is currently underway. Apart from aiming for SDG 4, SDYIC will also fulfill SDG 9, Industry, Innovation and Infrastructure. Next slide. Our long-term support for Yayasan Chowkit aims to provide basic education access to refugees and children who are born undocumented in the country, as well as Malaysian children and teenagers from poor urban families who need an alternative to the street life, with after-school programs that develop their soft skills. Now, all 125 of Yayasan Chowkit's homeschooling program students were able to acquire basic literacy skills to read, to write, to count. And 40% of the poor students had enrolled for tertiary educations. We're so proud of them. And they turned their lives around. YSD's continuous support has changed the lives of YCK, the Yayasan Chowkit children, and enabled them to obtain various achievements, such as actually receiving awards attributed to their involvement in performing arts, as well as for their outstanding volunteerism. This partnership is in line with SDG 4 and SDG 10. Next slide. As the country faces the pandemic's third wave, YSD recently committed 1.37 million ringgit for 11 aid initiatives in Sabah in this third wave alone, targeting individuals and communities severely impacted by COVID-19. We began emergency response initiatives actually in March this year, addressing the immediate needs of frontliners and vulnerable groups in Malaysia's critical areas, and have committed more than 7.8 million ringgit to date for these initiatives. Now, these efforts have benefited 7,200 bottom B40 families, 1,428 orang asli households, 12,750 students, and 5,016 frontline workers, as well as COVID-19 persons under investigation. The initiatives are aligned with SDG 2, 3, which is good health and well-being, and SDG 10. Next slide. YSD has also been a long-term supporter of HIV advocacy work of Malaysian AIDS Council, as well as for the Malaysian AIDS Foundation's Positive Audacious Living or PAL scheme, second-line antiretroviral medical treatment for underprivileged HIV patients and community empower initiatives in Malaysia. Now, due to stigma and lack of proper governance, not many funders would be interested to support HIV-related initiatives. However, our partnership meant that Malaysian AIDS Council had to change their governance to the point where they actually received recognition from the Companies Commission of Malaysia, SSM. YSD's contributions had also become the catalyst for the involvement of other corporate bodies, private companies, media organizations in national HIV and AIDS advocacy efforts and harm reduction programs. Now, these partnerships aim towards SDG 3 and SDG 10. For more than a decade, YSD has worked hand in hand with Women's Aid Organization in not only supporting the victims of a domestic abuse by providing crisis counseling and services, but also campaigning for the reform of regulations that are inclusive of all genders. Now, together, our initiatives have positively impacted the community, changing mindsets as well as public attitudes. More importantly, we believe in supporting victims of domestic abuse and their children whenever the need arises. This is in line with SDG 5, gender equality, which aims to eliminate all forms of violence and discrimination against women and girls, as well as to strengthen sound policies and enforceable legislation for the promotion of gender equality and SDG 10. Now, our collaboration with Cancer Research Malaysia supports scientists and research in areas that not many may be interested in to support. But with YSD support, Cancer Research Malaysia has grown leaps and bounds to become significant locally, regionally, and globally. They have built the world's largest genetic database of Asian breast cancers, and they are leading the Asian research for 2 global breast cancer studies and have started clinical trials for more effective breast cancer treatment options for Asians. Now, through the Patient Navigation Program, Cancer Research Malaysia works together with doctors, nurses, and community partners to help underprivileged women overcome barriers to timely diagnose and treat, which could prevent half of breast cancer deaths in Malaysia. Our support for Cancer Research Malaysia is in line with SDG 3 and SDG 10. Next. Under the environment pillar, YSD is committed to protect and conserve valuable habitats of critically endangered species by rehabilitating and preserving forest reserves and other pivotal yet fragile ecosystems. Now, our collaboration with Sime Darby Plantation and Sabah Forestry Department for the reforestation and rehabilitation of orangutan habitat in the northern Ulu Sugama, now known as Bukit Piton Reserve, underpins this commitment. Now, through this initiative, we had restored 5,400 hectares of area of heavily degraded forests by replanting 350,000 trees consisting of plant species important for the orangutans. Now, the regenerated forest now benefits other endangered animal species as well, such as the Bornean banteng, the clouded leopard, and the sun bear, with the area being gazetted as Class 1 Protected Forest Reserve or Totally Protected Area status, which prohibits logging activities in the area indefinitely. We are so proud of this achievement. This endeavor is in line with SDG 13, climate change, and SDG 15, protective life on land. Next. YSD's funding support from 2012 to 2017 for the Bornean Sun Bear Conservation Center, or BSBCC, made it possible for the center to construct a second bear house, an observation platform, a forest enclosure, aerial and perimeter walkways, as well as to conduct bear care programs and maintain the center's operations. Now, since 2016, BSBCC has successfully sustained the center themselves through the sales of tickets and merchandises, and has now become a world-class attraction that raises awareness on the plight of the animal. This support aligns with SDGs 15. Next slide. YSD's environmental endeavors also aim to change policies using science and research. YSD's partnership with the Management and Ecology of Malaysian Elephants, or MEME, under Nottingham University, Malaysia, has brought together communities from the academia, environmental non-profit entities, as well as industry players and government agencies. Now, MEME has carried out capacity building of local elephant experts in the government, academia and NGOs through postgraduate scholarships and experience as well as exposures. MEME also played an important role in the direction of the National Elephant Conservation Action Plan, while leading initiatives in elephant habitat protection in Ulu Muda and the Central Forest Spine habitat connectivity. Through a collaboration with Sime Darby Plantation, MEME also helped our postgraduate scholar, Wan Nur Aida Abdul Ghani, produce a first of its kind evidence-based company policy within Sime Darby Plantation's Responsible Agriculture Charter to deal with human-elephant conflict issues in plantations, which can be emulated by other palm growers. This long-term collaboration achieves SDG 12, ensuring sustainable consumption and production, as well as SDG 15. Now, to create a landscape for human orangutan coexistence, our collaboration with Pongo Alliance fosters strategic collaborations among all palm growers, the local government, non-profit organizations, and the local communities. Now, this is to advocate and synergize conservation efforts to develop best management practices to assist plantation estates in responding to orangutan conflict, orangutan-human conflict. The adoption of the best management practices would then assist environmental NGOs to review, manage all palm forest landscapes in favor of coexistence between humans and orangutans, government agencies to develop a new policy on orangutan management, and the international community to understand that humans and orangutans can coexist in mixed landscapes such as those comprising within oil palm plantations and forests. This initiative is in line with SDG 12, 13, and 15. YSD is also collaborating with the Global Environment Center, or GEC, from 2020 to 2023 for a community-based mangrove conservation and sustainable livelihood program in Perak. Now, the objective is to strengthen the sustainable management of mangrove and coastal resources and facilitating sustainable livelihood for 6,371 residents in Kuala Gula and 2,664 residents in Kampung Pasir Panjang Laut Setiawan Manjung, most of whom fall under the B40 category. GEC plans to establish a social entrepreneurship model for effective and sustainable approach in mangrove restoration and conservation, as well as livelihood program to educate and empower the local communities involved. This project aligns with SDG 1, SDG 2, and SDG 13. YSD also contributed to different chairs with University Kebangsaan Malaysia, UKM, in the form of endowment funds. Now, the climate change chair that we've supported has played a pivotal role in providing important feedback and guidance to the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment and state governments on addressing climate change issues such as deforestation and coastal erosion. The Zero Waste Chair, on the other hand, had developed 3 commercially ready zero waste technologies on renewable energy, water recovery, and enhanced composting for the palm oil mills, leveraging from the pilot plant supported by Sime Darby Plantation and research collaborations with mostly 8 Malaysian companies and 16 international research institutes. Meanwhile, the Zero Waste Chair, which is still ongoing, aims to deploy commercially ready zero waste technologies and further development by leveraging on the Industry Revolution 4.0, the IR 4.0 technologies. The support for these chairs tackle SDG 4, SDG 7 is to ensure access to affordable and clean energy, SDG 9, 12, and 13. Okay, the arts and culture. YSD's support for the Kuala Lumpur Performing Arts Center, KLPAC, in 2013 came in the nick of time to save the center as it was about to close down due to lack of funding for its operations. This has made YSD KLPAC's premier partner and gave a lifeline to the arts industry as it enabled the center to thrive today as a champion for Malaysia's creative arts industry. KLPAC and YSD also organized the biennial Yayasan Sime Darby Arts Festival, or YSDAF, together since 2014. And YSDAF is the largest free-for-all arts festival in Malaysia. To instill sustainable values, YSDAF 2018 held workshops and initiatives that promote a greener lifestyle. Now, the upcoming iteration in 2021, next year, will have an eco-friendly theme, which will see green initiatives implemented such as waste sorting at the festival ground, bring your own water bottle policy, no plastic policy, and encouraging festival goers to carpool or ride public transportation. This partnership corresponds to SDG 8, which is decent growth and decent work and economic growth, SDG 9 and 11. SDG, YSD's partnership with Ask, Academy Seni Kebudayaan Dance Company, or ADC, has spanned over a decade and has enabled ADC to progressively develop more awareness about Malay traditional art forms, dance forms, and produced dance practitioners to sustainably preserve our local heritage. Through the Forging Traditions program supported by YSD, ADC has been actively conducting free workshops and performances involving thousands of participants nationwide in the past few years. ADC has also proven to be an innovative partner by offering online dance classes. You know how it is now, we have to move with the times with the pandemic. Now, this has enabled them to continue to conduct virtual lessons on two Malay traditional dances, Zapin as well as Terinai, involving participants all over the world now during the pandemic. So it's not only for Malaysians, it's for everyone out there who wants to learn about Malay traditional dances. We are proud that ADC has progressed well towards being an income generating organization in hopes of becoming self-sustaining one day. YSC support for ADC is in line with SDG 4, 8, and 11. Please visit their website and scan to actually register. Okay, next slide. To support the creation of more skilled Malaysians involved in the arts, YSD joined hands with the British Council Malaysia and the University of Malaya with the Hubs for Good program. That program that connects Malaysian creative hubs and hub leaders with each other and with various local stakeholders who remain largely unaware of the positive impact that creative arts hubs have on communities and the economic status. The program involves interrelated projects, including country-wide mapping and research, a toolkit for the use of creative hub leaders and creative practitioners, a digital networking platform, and capacity building initiatives to address skill and knowledge needs of local creative hub leaders. A total of 16 hubs have been selected as program partners, and various capacity training initiatives on management and entrepreneurial skills have been conducted for these hubs. And this initiative aligns with SDG 8 and SDG 11. Okay, sports. Under the sports pillar, our focus on developing talents from the grassroots help create sustainable talent pools for various types of sports. The Midnight Football Program by the Global Peace Foundation Malaysia, for example, is an empowerment initiative that we support to build character, resilience, and leadership skills among at-risk underprivileged youth in Sarawak by using football as a medium. By the end of the program, participants do not only excel in football, with some progressing into state and national levels, but many of them also improved at school and behaved better at home, according to their parents. The program is in line with SDG 3, 4, and 10. The Sime Darby Football Development Program, which is on the side, by the Sime Darby Football Club, or SDFC, aims to produce elite players, something totally different from midnight football, by developing the skills and readiness of young and talented local football players to play at tournaments, while simultaneously feeding the local talent pool for Malaysian football. The program's recent extension saw the introduction of SDFC's first all-girls football development program, which is in line with our strategy to provide more sports development opportunities for women and girls to close that gap of inequality in sport talent development in the country. This is in line with SDG 3 and SDG 10. Next. The National Rugby Development Program, organized by our partner Malaysia Rugby, shares a similar focus as YSD believes it is now more crucial than ever to continue to build a platform to elevate female talents in sports and rugby. YSD support is also crucial for the development of the U20 women's elite team to correspond to the unprecedented growth of women's rugby globally. For cricket, YSD is supporting two programs by the Malaysian Cricket Association, which is the Cricket Adiwira program, which is for both boys and girls at schools, and the National Cricket Development Program for girls and women. Now, the objective for Cricket Adiwira is to introduce a simplified version, a very simple version of the cricket game to children and teachers to create awareness and interest in the game, while for the National Cricket Development Program for the girls and women, the national team we hope to qualify for the World Championships in 2022. Both our rugby and cricket initiatives are aligned with SDG 3 and 10. Okay, YC support for the Road to Tokyo 2020 program through the Sime Darby Foundation track cycling team aligns with the country's aim to bring home our very first Olympic gold medal in track cycling, as well as SDGs 3 and 10. Our previous funding for the Sime Darby track cycling team for 2 Olympics made it possible for Azizul Hasni Awang to make history by securing Malaysia's first Olympic medal in track cycling after bagging the bronze in Rio 2016. We are also currently supporting Muhammad Shah Firdaus Sahrom, who will be participating in next year's Tokyo Olympics. And we are proud of Anis Amira Rosidi's achievements in our current track cycling development program. Now, Anis is the second woman YSG has supported in track cycling after Fatiha Mustafa. Fatiha participated in 2 Olympic Games with YSD support. Okay, so takes us to our last slide. So what does it take to build effective institutions for a sustainable future? Although we don't have the ultimate guide for it, we believe that our work across our 5 pillars have and inshallah will continue to not only deliver sustainable values and impact, but also create meaningful and lasting relationships and collaborations for the betterment of the society, the environment, and the world at large. Thank you.
Right, thank you so much, Doctor, for such a comprehensive sharing, I would say, from Yayasan Darby. And I can see that Yayasan is striving to achieve as many SDG as possible. I think YSSD also emerged to be an exemplary institution who managed to somehow able to serve the community in a more meaningful way. And we can see from the slide as well that Yayasan Darby is looking into serving every aspect of community, be it in terms of arts, sports, educations, and whatnot. So, dearest members of the floor, I also would like to thank you for those community builders around the globe who are watching this live via our official Facebook page, which is GLOBS, GLOBS. And don't forget to like the official Facebook page, which is GLOBS Globes, and share this live session with your friends and family. So my dear brothers and sisters, now I open the floor for the community to ask questions. You can simply type it in the link below and also in the comment tab provided. So we have one question, Doctor, from Brother Muhammad Fitri. So he is asking how the club or NGO uh, to apply for sponsors in YSD, meaning if they are interested to venture into any activities, so how can they realign their activities and looking or seeking sponsors from YSD? Perhaps you can advise Saudara Fitri, Doctor.
Sure. Please visit our website, which is at www.yayasansimedarby.com. And look at what we are about, what our interests in, our focus areas within our 5 pillars. And if you feel that what you have to propose to Yayasan Sime Darby is something that is relevant to what we want to do towards achievement of one of those 17 or a few SDGs, please submit your proposal through our website. If you just click on it, you will have a place where you can actually download a template and then upload it into our website, and we will get back to you. Please do so. Just check it out on our website.
Right.
We open to all.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Of course, we focus on Malaysian support because there's so much to be done in Malaysia.
Truly, yeah, that is true. I mean, in wake of COVID-19,
Yes,
calamity, for sure, there are many more things to do rather than our business as usual. Many impacted clusters of communities who deserve our attention and perhaps our help to ease out their burden. So I think it's about time the community builders to come up with certain initiative or perhaps programs that we can solve our local community issues. With the support of ISD, I believe we can achieve more, inshallah. So do we have any other concerns or perhaps feedback from the floor? All right. So there's also questions, Doctor, perhaps you can also address whether YSD is looking into financing part of new businesses or SMEs as part of your ways of empowering local business who badly impacted by the COVID-19. So, I mean, will YSD looking or considering these new areas for you to ease out the burden of the communities?
Ultimately, as long as the initiative achieves the objectives of one of our 5 pillars, we would be happy to assist. But assisting startups specifically is not what we usually do. But if there is an achievement of an objective that you feel that from that angle, you can just try. But we do not have assistance of startup as part of our 5 pillars, unless it actually achieves certain objectives within our 5 pillars and towards the SDGs specifically.
All right, Doctor, I think throughout your presentation, you heavily highlighted that whatever YSD is doing, you are trying to somehow corroborate with the SDG goals. So perhaps you can also share with the floor, how do you rate YSD achievement in meeting SDG standard? Do you have like SDG report year in and year out? Perhaps you can share so that it is not simply corroborating or somehow attaching yourself with SDG, but also showing that actually YSD is making a progress and impact as far as SDG is concerned.
Thank you for that question. Every year in our annual report, we actually do some sort of a report of the impact of the projects that we collaborate in order to achieve the different SDGs, the relevant ones. And our next one will be out by end of the month. when we look into each project, we will see the correspondence to the SDGs, and we will have set KPIs from the very beginning with our partners on how we are going to achieve those goals, those objectives, and the impact to the society and the environment. Now, those achievements will depend on Yayasan Sime Darby's extended support for the program, you see. So if a partner does not achieve, for example, in the first year, you say it's a long-term collaboration, say 3 to 5 years.
Yep.
And in the first year, we are unable to achieve, we will sit down, we will talk, and we will see how was it within the control, the partner's control. How could Yayasan Sime Darby be a part of it to actually assist them to achieve the objectives of that first year? And if we see that there is a sincere efforts to put that have been put in to actually mitigate all those challenges, to address all those problems, we will continue, and with hopes and with trying to think of the box to actually see how to address those problems in order for us to achieve it at the end of the support period, say 3 years. But if we do not achieve the objectives, then we will have to stop supporting lah. Because and if we do not achieve the objectives, and we see that the partner wasn't trying, wasn't effective, wasn't efficient, unfortunately, we do not share the same kind of vision, then we will have to stop supporting. So I would like to say that for all the projects that we support towards SDG, at least 80 to 90 or more than 100% have been achieved, because usually our partners work really hard and they achieve 110%, more than what and we're so very proud of it. But in terms of the overall SDGs, and Cik Fikri, you asked me just now,
Yep.
We are just one organization contributing to the global target of achieving all 17 SDGs by 2030. But every single organization counts. Every single partnership, every single collaboration counts in order to achieve that global goal.
All right.
Does that answer the question?
Yes, inshallah, I think it's been answered well. When you have a specific report in your annual report with regards to SDG itself, I think that is an achievement by itself. Perhaps I've just been wondering, right? Whenever we provide the report, do you have like a third person or third party who will certify your reports? As far as
our external auditors, PricewaterhouseCoopers.
So the PwC will be the one who certifies.
Will review.
So PwC
Yes.
is doing not only the financial part but also the report, the activity part, is it? Wow,
yes.
Fantastic, inshallah. All right, now we also have questions from the floor. What is the ultimate social change which YSD dream to have? Perhaps developing community leaders until one day they are independent and sustain on their own, perhaps.
Yes, as I gave you a couple of examples just now, the Borneo Sun Bear Conservation Center, they're a very good example. At the very beginning, they had state support, but to actually build some infrastructure, and they had the area that was given to them, etc., in order to conserve the Bornean sun bears, an endangered animal. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. So they came to us, to Yayasan Sime Darby, to help support the rest of the infrastructure in order to do what they wanted to do, as well as to cover some infrastructure costs. So we supported them for a few years until once we stopped, we were so proud to see them self-sustaining. That means they could actually open their center to the public, for the public to come, and then they will pay ticket sales. And those ticket sales, as well as the merchandises that they buy of the sun bear, the cute little sun bear, will contribute to the running of the operations, as well as the conservation programs and education programs that they have. So by actually working with the BSBCC, it wasn't all easy, actually, to tell you the truth. There are so many challenges. And with those challenges, Yayasan Sime Darby as well as BSBCC grew in terms of our experience and grew in terms of our leadership skills and our strategic thinking on how to achieve what the center has achieved today. So that is an example of how we are building leaders towards a sustainable future, to actually think strategically, to actually address a problem by facing those problems as we encounter them during our collaboration and partnership. Currently, we are also working very closely with arts practitioners, like I mentioned just now, ADC, the Ask Dance Company. They are not totally self-sustaining right now, but we are working with them. We are working with them, connecting them with networks. They are also working very, very hard to actually go towards being self-sustaining one day, so that not only can they carry out and preserve our local heritage in dance, but also to carry the message of our local heritage out to the world, to share Malaysian dance with the globe. So that would be our examples of for leadership building towards a sustainable future.
From the one who received the funding to then the one who actually give out contribution to society. Perhaps you can also share with us your YSD journey on your due diligence process before you embark into any projects or beneficiaries. What are the things that you have to encounter first?
Well, the due diligence process is a long process because we have to make sure that we choose the right partner. We do get quite a lot of applications, sponsorship applications every day. So we have to work with those who have had some sort of a um, track report. Yeah. Um, Now, like for example, say an organization, although it's new, but the people within the organization has had some experience in carrying out the project successfully, and has the networks within the industry, within with the government, as well as other bodies and organizations to actually make it work. We will check all kinds of things in terms of um, uh, the of course, the budget, the sustainability of the project, how detailed they have thought through the project. And once they pass that first stage of due diligence, we'll sit down and have a discussion with them and ask them all the tough questions to see if you encounter this, what will happen? If you encounter that, what will happen? So that due diligence process, Cik Fikri, takes about 3 months.
I see, right.
It's a long process, but we are very careful. I must say that we have learned along the way. I've been in Yayasan for more than 10 years. And along the way, we have encountered partners whom we trusted at the very beginning. During the due diligence, they had like given us, letters that were to show support from individuals who are prominent in the industry, for example. But when we worked with them, we found that they did not have integrity.
I see,
So
right.
we would like to not have that kind of situation. But when we do a proper due diligence, when we find that the partner has the right mindset, the right vision and strategic view of how to achieve, inshallah, and from our previous experience, we have done up so good projects that have achieved more than 100% of those KPIs set. I give you an example of the 10-year project that we had with the Sabah Forestry Department, as well
Yeah,
as Sime Darby Plantation. Now that area, 5,400 hectares that was developed at that point of time, it wasn't forest reserve, it was class 2. But Sabah Forestry was telling us and assuring us, with your support here, with your investment here, we will work towards getting it to be class 1 and it will be protected, inshallah, forever.
Oh,
And we
mashallah.
actually got it. And I must tell you, Encik Fikri, when I went at the beginning of the project, it was all barren. It was just one tree with one
Oh,
orangutan nest there, very sad. But the orangutans all trapped there, you see, because can't swim. They can't swim across the the Ulu Segama River. So they're kind of trapped there, but there was no trees because there was fires, there was logging before, etc., etc. But now, after 10 years of planting, you go there, it's just lush with trees. And every other tree, there is an orangutan nest.
mashallah.
So fulfilling. It is so fulfilling. So you must choose the right partners. And the due diligence is so important.
Yeah, true enough. Somehow, uh, for the most part of our society, the integrity parts or the governance part must be taken into consideration and priority. Because if we choose the wrong partners and in fact we somehow embark ourselves into wrong projects, it will somehow end up something bad will happen. So that is why I think your point is quite clear. Due diligence is very important. And when you mention YSD took around 3 months to do due diligence itself, shows how significant effort are being put in to ensure that all procedures and all objectives are being met, or all safeguards are being there. So that is why YSD is achieving, as you mentioned, more than 100% KPI. So partly, I think, because of that due diligence part that you have done so far. So congratulations. I hope you can continue doing good and well in
Inshallah.
YSC. So
Inshallah.
I think we have come to the end of our session. Perhaps last word from you, Doctor.
Um, we are very lucky to have very sincere, very generous donors. They are the three Sime Darby companies, Sime Darby Berhad, Sime Darby Plantation Berhad, and Sime Darby Property Berhad. With the backing of our donors and the funds that we have, we are able to actually help causes together with partners to achieve the SDGs that is envisioned by the United Nations to be achieved by 2030. So it all starts from the heart. It starts from the sincerity and the generosity that each one of us has. As I mentioned, every single organization, every single person counts towards this global goal. So don't think that you're not important. Every single thing counts.
Thank you so much. Very inspiring. So that every community leaders might take that as an inspiring quote, saying that everyone does matter. Every activity you have done in your local community, for instance, does matter on how you can actually help to uplift these deserving communities or those who are being affected by COVID-19 calamities, for instance. Thank you so much for listening. And thank you so much for the sharing, Doctor. We are hoping that you might joining us in future or embarking into perhaps new projects that can benefit society at large, inshallah. And I would like to call all committee builders to register yourself at the My CSO Empowerment Program, which will be soon held on the 15th, 16th, and 17th of November 2020. And you may refer to the registration link on the bottom right of the screen. So thank you so much. Again, before I end, I just would like to again reiterate that this is the day 3 of the Community Builders Conference in conjunction with the Global Community Builders Summit 2020. And it is co-organized by International Islamic University Malaysia with Philandure and sponsored by Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad and supported by All Party Parliamentary Group Malaysia and also CSO-SDG Alliance. So thank you so much for everyone. And please keep tuning in because we have more to come. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum. We are done for now.